Another ghost story, as narrated by me, Tom Dontigny. I like ghost stories. The Bank Street Ghost speaks about a friendly ghost that resides at 11 Bank Street in Greenwich Village, New York. It is a red brick house which is 175 years old, but still in good condition. Apparently this ghost had decided to share the premises with the people. Dr. Harvey Slatton, an engineer, and his wife, Yef Kimball, who is of Nosogee Indian descent and a well-known painter who lives there. During quiet moments, they often thought that they heard footsteps on the staircase, sometimes crossing the upper floors, and sometimes a sound like light hammering. Strangely enough, the sounds were more often heard during the day than at night, which is unusual for a traditional haunt. The Slattons were by no means frightened by these occurrences and investigated such without results. A workman in the house, between floors, found a black painted metal container, about twice the size of a coffee can. On it was a faded label which read, "The last remains of Elizabeth Bullock, deceased, cremated January 21, 1931. The label also bore the imprint of the United States Crematory Company Limited, Middle Village, Borough of Queens, New York, and stamped on the top of the can was the number 37251. The can remains in the Slatton house to this day. Elizabeth Bullock, it was reported, suffered a sudden and tragic death as she was hit by a car. Sudden and tragic death is believed to be the reason that many spirits or ghosts remain, as they are actually confused as to their plight. Elizabeth Bullock did not actually live at the house, but resided nearby at 131 Perry Street. The residence was visited by a medium, and a séance was done, and it was stated that the brother of Mrs. Bullock refused her burial in the cemetery, as he considered her to be living in a state of sin, even though she had married. The spirit said she now liked living in the house and sharing it with Mrs. Slatton, who herself was somewhat gifted in the psychic. After the séance, it was suggested to Mrs. Slatton that the can containing the ashes be buried in the garden beneath a tree. But Mrs. Slatton felt that her ghost was just as happy to stay on the piano. It was not an unhappy ghost and considered itself as part of the family. The Slattons continued to live happily in their lovely quiet house in the village, with Elizabeth Bullock as their star boarder.